Excuse me. Hey everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about your summer holiday eating guide. You're going to be going on vacation, holidays, cookouts, different things like this, and you need to have a plan for how you're going to approach them when you are focused on changing your weight. And the first thing I want to suggest to you is that you do not diet on your vacation. Do not diet during cookouts and holidays. That's not the time to be losing weight. It's the time to be maintaining weight. And so the mindset you want to go into it with is having a mindset of minimizing the damage so that you can eat the regular foods that you would normally eat, but you're using your willpower to not go overboard with it. Because again, we're going to see things within context. A day of overeating, a week of overeating is about as impactful on your weight as a day of dieting or a week of dieting, which is to say that it doesn't matter much at all. So it's not about that day and that week that matter. It's enjoying the hell out of that day and that week so that you feel good about yourself, so that you're living a life that's worth living. And part of that is eating the foods that you like to eat, but doing it in a moderate way. And so this is where we come up also with an all or something mindset, where we're not going to be all or nothing. We're not going to be either I'm dieting perfect or I'm eating everything in sight. We're practicing that middle ground. And it's the perfect time to practice that, where again, you eat the things you like to eat, but your focus is I'm not going to go crazy with them. And some of the strategies you can use to do that are if you're going to a cookout, if it's a one-day thing, what we want to do is we want to manage our hunger. Don't go into these situations starving. Okay. Nourish yourself ahead of time, have an apple, have, some celery, a small salad, some water, something healthy and nourishing, then go into the situation with a medium level of hunger. That's how you stay in control of your eating. If it's a vacation week, or weeks, what we do is we focus on breakfast, right? Make breakfast the healthiest meal possible. And if breakfast is a celebrating meal for you that day, make lunch the next healthiest meal. But breakfast or lunch, make one of them a healthy, nourishing meal for you. And then the rest of the time, eat what you want to eat. But at least, again, you're going to be nourished. Appetite's going to be more satisfied. So it makes it easier to make better food choices. And you can also focus on the non-food factors as well. Make sure you're still drinking water, go for walks, get some sleep, get some rest, quiet your mind, play some games, some sports, have fun with your summer, with your holidays, with your cookouts. Enjoy yourself. Not all enjoyment has to be food related. And so as you start to approach it with this mindset, I think you're going to find that it's not so much about losing weight during these times. It's about living at the same weight. It's about maintaining, because eventually next year at this time, you'll be going into the summer more closer or at your goal weight. And then it's just about maintaining it. And maintaining is all about that all or something attitude where you're moderate with what you're doing, not doing the extremes. So I hope this helps you out. And I hope you have a wonderful cookout, holiday, vacation season for yourself. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. We'll get into it. You crazy people thinking about weight loss the day before 4th of July. Are we nuts? What are we doing? Just kidding. What's up, Mario? How's it going? Yeah. Let's see here. I know Jonathan's out in Australia, so he doesn't even know about 4th of July. Jonathan said, Jim, how would you react to someone pressuring you to eat junk like a friend? I don't know how to how to answer so that they understand how important this is for me. A great question. Okay. I love this question because this is one of those things that really is always at play when we want to change our weight, when we're changing our behaviors, when we're eating healthier, living healthier. Regularly, people in your life are going to not be as supportive as you think they're going to be, all the way to being literally trying to sabotage you. This is normal, natural. I expect it at this point. This is what I expect from people. So first thing is, again, we want to understand that a lot of times it's not about you, it's about them. They feel uncomfortable because now all of a sudden you're kind of upset in the apple cart. You know what I mean? All of a sudden you kind of have this rapport where maybe you guys ate junk food together or drank together, or did whatever you did together. Now all of a sudden you're saying, I'm not going to do that. And it breaks rapport. It makes things weird because now it's different. So I think understanding that at first is good because it reframes this process from one of they're trying to get me or they're not supporting me to having more empathy and understanding for where they're at. And I think the more empathy and understanding you have during this process, the better results you're going to get. That being said, we also need to have some strategies that we can use with them. And I would suggest, first off, this is my suggestion. This is based on a lot of experience. When you start eating better, I try to fly under the radar as much as possible, which is a lot of times the opposite of what dieters do. Dieters typically kind of like vegans. They're just broadcasting, or CrossFit people, right? That's always the joke. But they're always broadcasting that that's what they're doing. I'm on a diet now. I'm doing this. And I tell you, like, as soon as people hear that, it's just like it comes a bullseye to get you to eat shit. And so I like to fly under the radar as much as possible. That's my first suggestion. But even then, sometimes you'll say, hey, wait, what's going on? You're not eating like you normally do. And at that point there, I like to really focus all about me. And I like to say, yeah, I'm working on eating better now. And, I'm giving it a shot here and see what I can do. And again, I'm minimizing. I'm looking to get onto another subject as fast as possible. And so you say, oh, well, don't you want some fries? No, I'm good. I'm looking to make some changes here. I'm eating healthier, making some better choice. I'm doing what I can here. We'll see what happens. I like to be self-deprecating. This is how I like to handle it. They keep at it. Come on, you sure you don't want some fries? Then no, I do not want any fries. Okay, thank you. You've asked me 3 times. I've answered you. I don't want any. I know it's weird, but I'm good. I don't want any. Okay, so thank you very much. But yeah, let's just have a conversation. Let's we're still talking, whatever, but I just don't want the fries right now. I'm changing things up. So I kind of go about it that way. And and then to the point where you sure you don't want some fries? Hey, fuck off. I'm out of here. You know what I mean? Like, and I wouldn't be that confrontational, but I would basically, there have absolutely been relationships in my life I have let go because it didn't work anymore without the alcohol or the food. And so I let those relationships go. And that's a choice we all have to make sometimes. But most people, if this is a meaningful relationship in your life, most of the time, if you kind of follow those steps I talked about, and again, customize them yourself, but you follow those steps somewhat, I think they're going to bring you to a better outcome, so that's kind of what I would say. And then see what happens and come back, and I'll help you kind of think of better things as well, because that is a challenge, getting other people to leave you alone and kind of, again, you're not looking to get them on board with you, but to get them to even leave you alone with the junk food and stuff, it just is a thing, so try different stuff. Aziz, hi Jim, got the program before I left for vacay and haven't been able to start. Can I start at day 1? Yeah, absolutely. Just shoot me an email at jim@programyourselfthin.com and let me know your email address and I will restart you. Okay. And I'm letting you know now, I'm just literally just waiting. There's not going to be, that app is going away. The Nudge app's going away. You'll still get emails though. And I'm still working on a text solution, which I'm thinking maybe another week at most, and that should be working too. But shoot me an email and I'll restart your emails. Yeah, when you get back, just shoot it to me whenever you want to start, and I'll restart you that day or the day after. Yeah, Jonathan, it's a totally big day for you guys tomorrow. I can imagine how stressful for dieters. Yeah, 4th of July cookouts, vacations, real stressful for dieters, because they go into it thinking they got to be perfect, and it's miserable because you're not going to eat perfect most likely anyways. And if you do eat perfect, then you end the day being pissed off that it's like you get to the point, what's the point of living if I can't even enjoy a cookout? So it can be a real trap. And I say that the way out of that trap is really easy. Stop being a dieter and, be moderate, work on being more moderate. A day of overeating doesn't mean shit to your weight. It really doesn't. And, so yeah, I hope people aren't stressing about tomorrow, but I know some of them are. Yeah, Don says, I hate saying I'm on a diet. People think it's funny and unserious. Yeah, I would never, ever, never say I was on a diet. If I wanted to lose weight, I would never say I was on a diet. You instantly attract all sorts of negative energy. It's no good. I would never say I was on a diet. Ever, never, never. I would never say anyways, because I think being on a diet is the fucking dumbest thing ever. Those of you that want to be a dieter, again, I understand when you don't understand an alternative, but if you listen to me regularly, if you still want to diet, again, sometimes it takes multiple times of realizing something doesn't work and is silly, but yeah, I would never, I would never say I was a dieter for 2 reasons. 1, it's silly. And 2, I don't want to attract people's attention. And I don't want to stick out. And so they're trying to, they just do it. You all know this. The second you're like, oh yeah, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm on a diet. It's like their mission to get you to eat bullshit. Just, that's how it is. So, and it's just, it is linked. You feel like shit about yourself. Oh, I'm on a diet. And let's be honest, what goes on in the back of your head is you're like, oh yeah, I'm on a diet. And then you're like, you get all like, oh, no one believes I'm going to do it. No, I'm a failure. And I've said this 50 times. I never stick to the diet. I'm embarrassed. And here I just said it again. I'm probably not going to lose the weight. It's like, fuck that. No, don't do any of that stuff. Just go in there and say, yeah, I'm looking, Because again, it's the language of dieting versus the language of weight mastery. You know, in weight mastery, we don't have to do everything all at once. You know, so it's like, I say that with Program Yourself Thin people all the time, because it's not about how much weight you lose in 8 weeks. If you make it about that, you're totally missing the point. And so, oh, you're doing Program Yourself, how much weight you lost? And it's like, I like when people say, it doesn't matter. I've changed this behavior. Oh, you haven't lost the weight. Oh, and then they think less of it. Fuck them, because they think of everything. You dieters think of everything on how much weight you lose this week, how much weight you lose this week, how much weight you lose since you started. Which I understand, obviously, right? If you, do it. But it's like, if you start a business, you're like, I just took an entrepreneur course. Oh, how much money did you make this month? How much money did you make this month? It's that short-term focus that you're never going to get any of the results you want with it. So whatever, let people think what they're going to fucking think. Who cares? You know, that's such a big part of this, is letting go what other people think. Because I'll tell you what, just another side note here, if you're going to be a thin, healthy person in this culture, you're going to be a fucking weirdo. So you better get comfortable with standing out a little bit and being different from the norm, because the norm is being overweight and obese. Okay. So if you're going to be a healthy, thin person, you're an outlier in this culture. So you better get comfortable with dealing with a little bit of that. All right. And you're going to be different. I'm a weirdo. I'm weird. I've been weird for 30 years. Yeah, I'm thin and healthy. Oh, I want to be thin and healthy too. Do you? Do you really? Do you really? Because I know it's nice. Oh yeah, you're thin and healthy. Okay, great. But do you want to go out to, you go someplace and it's like, oh, you want all this bullshit? Nah, I'm good. I don't want that. You know, you're doing, because I don't want to eat that shit. You know what I mean? Like I eat some of it, you know what I mean? But I don't eat like everyone else eats. I just don't. And people in Program Yourself Thin, it's not because we can't, it's because we don't want to. You start getting more sensitive to your body. You tend to just want to make better food choices. So anyways, that's a little bit of a left turn there, but it's a true part. What's up, Sheila? Sheila says, down another pound even after being off track last week. Thanks, Jim. You're welcome, Sheila. Yeah, that's how it works. When you program yourself and you start structuring your eating, you're on track, off track. You don't fucking know. On track, off track. People that think that they're paying attention to their eating, you just don't know. It's estimated, I know you're not going to believe this, but it's estimated we make over 200 food decisions a day. You're not aware of any of those. They're all being made subconsciously on autopilot. And so, it's just crazy. When you start programming yourself, start structuring things, we're speaking to that part of our brain. We're speaking to that process that really we're basically unaware of. And dieters think they're going to be conscious of every choice they make. You're not. But anyways, yeah, Vicky says you don't owe anyone any explanations. Be private. Agreed. I think the less you explain it all to people, the better, because very few people will support you in general, and then even fewer will support you with this process. So just letting you know, keep it to yourself. And if you can't keep it to yourself, I'd reflect on what your motivations are, for sure. Lindsay says, hey, Jim, I ate 3 really nutritious meals yesterday. I ate enough and felt great after dinner. It was one of the best eating by days I've had in a while. I went and binged a half bag of chips after. Yeah. So what? There's a million reasons why we may binge, folks. No, there's not a million, but there's a number of them. I can tell you, I got my clean days, and these things are locked down. I do them 4.5 days a week, every single week. I eat kind of the same thing. That being said, well, here's a good example today. To what I just had a bagel sandwich. My eating's off because it's not just what we eat. Like, you don't just eat based on your nourishment and how satisfied you are. There's other factors involved. And so for me, I know my eating works for me 90% of the time. On my clean days, I'm going to eat these clean foods. That's what I'm going to eat. Okay. But I also know that there's outlier days. Maybe I slept like shit. Maybe I'm stressed out about something. Maybe I'm nervous. Maybe I'm excited. And that can factor into my eating as well. So what I would say, Lindsay, is great job. But to me, that's a win. That's a 90% win, because that's the hard part. Eating 3 nourishing meals is the hard part. The not eating the chips is the easy part. And so binging a half bag of chips, again, I don't know how big the bag was anyways, but I know that's not what you want to do, but imagine there was probably some emotional habitual factors going on there. But again, it's not like an all or nothing thing though, Lindsay. Don't grade yourself like, oh, I was doing so good. Oh, but then I fucked in, the day's ruined. You know what I mean? Like do not do that. Grade yourself with context. Holy shit, great job in the beginning of the day. What happened here with the chips? Oh, if I could go back in time, I would have done this different. What went on there? I don't want to do that again. I felt great that part, and the chip part kind of caught me up. Don't be like, oh, I was doing so good, and then I blew the whole thing. Oh my God, am I ever going to get this? I'm never going to do this. Oh, even when I do well, I fail. And then don't do that shit. Okay. That's what I'm trying to say. It's all the mindset thing. Because you could do that. You could do 3 perfect meals a day, and then you have some chips and it blows it all. And oh, nothing works. Oh, woe is me. I'll never get this. Oh, You know what I mean? Like, we got to cut that shit out. You did great 90% of the time, and you get the chips, and let's focus on the chips. What's going on at night? Is that a normal behavior for you? So again, I would want a lot more detail, so we could understand it. I don't want to have and that's what dieters always do. They just look at things very superficially. Oh, 3 good meals, but then it all ended with a bag of chips. So it's boom, and I suck and I can't do it. And I'm never gonna be able to get this. And I have no willpower. And it just gets all confused and discouraged and stuff. So you got to learn to manage that. But good job, Lindsay. Again, I think it's a good job. If you can understand why I'm saying that, I'm sure you can, because I know you're a smarty, so you'll get it. But yeah. Anyways, Sheila says, I don't even think of it as being off track anymore. No drama, just drink some water, read, rehearse. There we go. and that's the program yourself then approach in action. What's up, Julie? I had a 1 ounce bag of chips instead of a binge. Victory. That's wonderful. Yeah, it's rare lately, but if I really want something unhealthy, I eat a mini version. And that is a great strategy. That was Brian Wansink had said that. I forget. Was it Slim by Design? Maybe. He had written one of his second books. I forget the name of it. But anyways, it was really good. And it was a point he made. And I don't know where that whole thing's gone. But the point he was making is that the food industry started making smaller packages. And this is very interesting. Because there's a process that affects us. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. And it's basically when we have an open loop, it feels uncomfortable until we close the loop. This shows up if you ever watch network TV, like every time they put a commercial, every time there's about a commercial come on, they kind of leave an open loop, right? And certainly the biggest open loop in TV is the to be continued, right? Is there anything worse? And so you get to this point, oh, what's going on? And then it's like, oh, I'll find out next week, And so what happens is you got this open loop, like you got this, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And that open loop piece keeps it fresh in your mind. So going back to food, when you eat out of a big bag, there's a sense, even if you eat half of it, there's still this open loop of you not finishing the bag. So there is something about the process of opening the container, eating the whole container, throwing the container out. It closes the loop at least. And so to eat half a bag, half a pint, half of something, it is a harder thing typically because there is this energy of wanting to finish it to close the loop up. And so he was talking about the food industry at one point. I don't know if they're still doing this as often, but they started making food in smaller packages and containers. And that was something for the first time that was causing people to consume less food comfortably. And it's because it was the full loop experience of eating. You'd open up the small bag, consume all of it. It was done, closed loop, So if you get an opportunity, that's a great strategy, Julie. And for all of you, is if you're going to have snacks, this is why like a Hershey's bar is the opposite of that, right? The Hershey bar, they made sales started dipping. So they came up with, and brilliant. Is this genius or what? Diabolically brilliant, but brilliant. So what they started doing is they started stamping the chocolate. So I said, oh, just have a piece. Because at that time, it was mostly housewives doing the shopping. And so they could justify in their head, well, I'll just break a little piece off and just have that. Well, they would eat the whole bar a piece at a time. And so usually people finish the whole bar. They just do it a piece at a time. But, that was the same idea, just worked in reverse. So if you are going to eat chips or little desserts, like I do this with Ben & Jerry's ice cream, I won't get a pint of Ben & Jerry's. I will get, they have like little, I don't even know what they're called. I don't know how much it is. Maybe it's 4 ounces. I will get, if I want Ben & Jerry's, I'll go to the store and I will get the little container and I'll finish the whole thing. Open loop, close loop. Okay. And then I'm done with it. So that is a strategy. It does have some scientific backing behind it that can be very, very good. All right. So good job. What's up, Ronnie? Ronnie says, trying to imagine myself as my ideal version whenever I practice meditation or relaxation, but it triggers a sense of anxiety due to cognitive dissonance and past bullying. How can I relax into my ideal version while dealing, accepting, and loving myself? Also, hi. Yeah, the ideal self is a whole thing. I literally just did a lesson on this, but again, it was a 40-minute lesson. So I'm trying to think of how I can summarize it the most useful way possible here. Trying to imagine myself as an ideal version creates anxiety. It does, but okay. So here we go. So I think the secret there, what I will say is that, let me pick it this way. When we think of our ideal self, we don't want to go fantastical. We don't want to go too far. Okay. If it's creating anxiety. So sometimes we can imagine our ideal self, but it creates anxiety. I think we're going too far. And so one way to manage that is to dial that back a little bit and start thinking of yourself now. As you think of yourself now, 20% better, 40% better, whatever that would mean. I'm just giving you a sense of how you can move it up incrementally is what I'm saying. Because maybe you're going it too far and that's what's creating the cognitive dissonance, it's creating the anxiety. So I'd say dial back the ideal self, which is no problem. So for example, if someone wants to lose 100 pounds, I say, hey, maybe first you imagine yourself 25 pounds lighter. You know what I mean? And then 50 pounds lighter. And sometimes that can help out exactly that thing. So give that a shot and see if it helps you out. All right. Well, he says there are way too many food commercials. Here. I mean, and remember, all the food commercials are hypnosis sessions. So it's not, people really don't understand commercials because they don't understand hypnosis. But yeah, food commercials are absolutely hypnosis sessions. All commercials are hypnosis sessions, and they're very powerful. And yeah, the less, what I always suggest, again, I know you don't even believe this because you think, oh, commercials, they don't bother me. Yes, I do. And what you want to do really is you want to be aware of them. You don't want to try and ignore them. That's what they want you to do. And they go in subconsciously and affect you. They don't spend billions and billions of dollars a year on commercials because they don't work. So I hope no one here thinks commercials don't work on them. But anyways, okay. So when commercials come on, I mean, first thing you want to do, and I've been doing this for over 20 years. I have not had network TV. Okay. I get it certain times, like I want to watch football season or something like that. But I don't want to watch commercials because I know I'm a hypnotist. I know how bad it is. Okay. So first thing, if you can get rid of commercial TV, it's worth the extra money. It's well worth the extra money. Second thing is that if you are going to have commercials on, is mute them. Okay. Mute them if you can. Literally mute them. That takes half the modality away. It makes them less persuasive. And then finally, if you can't even do that and you have to watch the commercial, I counter program in my head. So if I see a soda commercial, I will regularly remind myself, holy shit, there's 20 packets of sugar in one of those. Oh my God, I would never drink one. I'm literally countering, and I'm like, it's not youthful. I'm like diagnosing what the ad's trying to convince me of and doing that. Now, again, I don't even know if you'd be able to do that because you may not know the details of how to do that. But those are kind of three options for you, because commercials are a real, listen, my whole program's built around hypnosis is one of the main things. Hypnosis really works. It's really effective. And commercials are more powerful hypnosis than what I can do, because they're using visual stuff, $1 million budgets, all the rest of it. Yeah, Shireen says that's exactly what we do. Mute if they're food ads. Absolutely. You got to mute them. Even watching it's not good. The watching it, is really not good. It's not helpful. It's a visual cue that triggers your hunger and craving for those foods. And so, yeah, I mean, literally, I would change the channel. I'd mute it at the least, and I take it real serious, Z says, how do you feel about calorie counting on MyFitnessPal? I think it's fine if you use it as a calibration tool. So Z, you're in the program. So it's really about structuring your eating. Okay. So when you get back, make sure you start by watching the eating blueprint training. Okay. And start creating your eating blueprint and structuring your eating. You can calorie count at the same time, but eventually what's going to happen is you're going to have your eating structured and you're going to know what the calorie levels are for them. And then there's no need to calorie count anymore. You know what I mean? And then when you're using the redo rehearsal technique, you're catching the outlier behaviors that are outside of your structured eating. But it's a philosophy built to move you away from calorie counting, because calorie counting for most people is it's just unsustainable. You're not going to do it long. When you're fired up and motivated, you might do it, but it's not a long-term strategy for most. The structuring your eating that you learn in the program and your eating blueprint, that is long-term, because you can just do it on autopilot. You do it naturally. But again, in the beginning, I think it's fine to use both of them, So if you have any questions on TikTok, I'm looking to get them now. I hope I didn't miss any ones. There we go. Okay, there we go. Moses, hi, Jim. I decided to just have some real fruit for breakfast instead of smoothies and yogurt. Good for you, Moses. You're probably going to need more than fruit, though. Maybe not. You know what I mean? But just keep that into account. Again, it's not about doing everything perfect right away, even though you want to. Fruit, I think, is great for breakfast. But for you starting out, and for me, I need a little bit more than just fruit. I could train myself to just eat fruit, too, though. But you may find that you're more satisfied if you have something as well, but play around with it. Great job, though. I think that's a great decision, Moses. Big deal. Also got some protein bars because I don't eat much meat since the carnivore thing, and I've heard protein is very important. Protein is very important. Protein bars are basically candy bars most of the time. They're not that great for you. Eat them, use them as a secondary option, not a primary one. Protein bars should never be your primary food option, folks. I'm letting you know that. Now, again, everything's relative. If you typically eat candy bars in the afternoon, you shift to a protein bar, that's great. But protein bars are not the final place you want to end up at either. There's a lot of sugar in them typically. They're processed, they're pre-digested. Yes, they have protein. Protein's important, but you're going to get plenty of protein Fiber is more important, in my opinion, in terms of satiety. And there's that. But great job, Moses. I'm so proud of you making real smart decisions. I'm so happy for you. So happy for you. You're on a real path here. Mario says, how do you typically eat on cookouts, Jim? I'm going to be honest. I'm a little scared. Well, first of all, I'd never go into a place feeling scared. And that's where the programming comes in. See, you're anticipating, and we always program ourselves, folks. When I say it's program yourself, then it's not like I'm teaching you how to program yourself. You are already programming yourself. Mario here is nervous and scared of going to a cookout. Why? Because he's imagining, right? It hasn't happened yet. It's tomorrow. He's imagining tomorrow I'm going to go cookout and overeat because that's what I did last time I went to a cookout. So that's programming. This is what we all do. We pre-program and then we basically act on autopilot. So the time to change your future is now. By imagining a different future now, it sets your mind up. It doesn't guarantee it, but it primes your mind. It starts to create the neural connections and networks of behaving the way that you want to, feeling and thinking the way you want to. So if I was Mario, if Mario was in the program, which for some reason he's not, we'd never understand how that is. But what you would do is you'd imagine the cookout. How do you want to go to the cookout? I certainly know you don't want to go terrified and scared to a cookout. You want to go confident, calm, relaxed, centered, grounded, knowing that I like eating well at a cookout. I'll eat more. I'll go tomorrow. And I'll go, my cookout tomorrow, I'm going to go for like 12 hours. I'm sleeping over. It's the whole thing. And I've been thinking about it, right? Because I'm like, in the past, I could get in trouble. I'd start drinking too much. That's my thing. And then it leads to the food eating too much. But I will start tomorrow. I will have a breakfast sandwich in the morning. That'll be pretty filling. And then I will probably, honestly, tomorrow, I will probably have a salad. We'll see, before I go. Because now I wouldn't normally do that, but I am part of this CSA. We have so much vegetables in my house right now. I feel this need to have to eat them because I hate wasting food. So I have extra motivation that's beyond just being healthy there. So I will probably eat a big salad before I even go to this thing. Then I will go there feeling pretty satisfied. I'll bring my own veggie burgers, because my brother makes all the meat, and it's like, I'd rather just bring my own. It's easy. I got stacks of them, So I'll bring some veggie burgers, some veggie dogs. I will eat those. I'll eat some chips and some bullshit, potato salad. I'll eat all that stuff, but I will make an intention to I don't want to eat a bunch of it. You hear my language though. Listen to the language. I don't want to overeat a bunch of bullshit. I don't feel good that way. I don't want to drink a bunch of beers. What will I drink tomorrow? Because I will drink some beer because I like drinking beer, especially on a cookout. I'm going to be playing cornhole and be partying. It's going to be fun, but I will be drinking Coronas because for me, Coronas, now you got to understand, right? Different people are different with alcohol. I've been a drinker in the past. You know what I mean? I can put down like IPAs and stuff, which are way higher alcohol, a lot heavier. I'm not going to drink those. I'm going to drink Coronas, which I find to be, it's a lot harder for me to get drunk on them and get carried away with it. It's a lot easier for me to stay in control of Coronas, like almost autopilot, because I've worked on it as well. I love my water there. I will drink my water simultaneously. I will be drinking some coffee along the way. So I will eat things that I like to eat, but I will eat them moderately. So there's nothing I won't eat. Now, again, I want to be clear. Being a vegetarian supports me here. You know what I mean? Like I no doubt about it. My brother, he does amazing, smoking and cooking and all, like all the meats and everything. None of that affects me. You know what I mean? So that's out of my thing. And so, whatever food is there, I don't know, I will go into there very grounded. I will be nourished. I will be calm. I will be relaxed. And I will be anticipating that I will eat a little more than I normally do, a little more bullshit than I normally do, but it'll be somewhere in a midland range and I'll be fine. So that's kind of how I think about it, and a lot of that, I didn't just think about that just automatically. I've been working on that for years. I've been going to cookouts and stuff. So that's what I want you all to do is learn from what you do. Learn from what you do right, learn from what you do wrong, and then grow and evolve. So the next time you go to cookout, you got better strategies to utilize. Again, the dieters are always black and white. I did good, I did bad. That's it. You know what I mean? There's so much more to the story. And when you start to look at it this way, you realize there's so many opportunities to improve and grow and get better at it. And it's not rocket science, and it's not all built around your weight loss or your diet and how you did that day. Yeah, Vicky says mute pharmaceutical ads too. It's so annoying at night. Yeah, the pharmaceutical ads. Oh my God. Those ads. I mean, again, I can't be the only one who just the appropriateness of pharmaceutical ads, but whatever, dude. We live in the Wild West. You know what I mean? It's every man for himself, every person for himself in this society. So, I think we all know that now, don't we? It's every person for himself. So yeah, pharmaceutical ads though, they're ridiculous. He says, Mario, get in the program. Jonathan says, gosh, you're so right. I'm embarrassed to say it at this point. I remember I mentioned dieting 2 years ago to my family, and I'm in the same weight. It's so embarrassing, and people ask about it. Yeah, exactly. Do not mention your dieting. Please never say that, folks. What it does is it creates a negative more than anything. And I'm not saying other people, oh yeah, yeah, Jonathan's going on another diet. Oh, and you even if they say it or don't say it, you're internalizing all that. It makes you feel like shit. Never start another diet. Can I please? I urge you, never start another fucking diet. I mean, God, unless you love it, unless you're just, unless you just love it. I'll write that one down. Unless you love feeling like shit, mentally, emotionally, physically, never start another diet. That's what I mean. Like you play it cool. I don't want anyone to know my shit about my weight and my eating. I just want to like, that's what I wish I would have done that differently, because I didn't know back then. I was 9. I was all excited and I lived with my mom. She would know. But if I was like on my own now and I wanted to start losing weight, I would tell as few people as I had to tell. Like literally, I would tell as absolutely as few people as I ever had to tell. And they'll say, hey, wait, oh Jim, are you eating different? Are you trying to lose weight? And I'd be like, nah, I don't know. I'm just paying a little more attention to my eating. Just, I don't know, just kind of trying some different shit out and see how it feels. Like that, literally, like, and I've been doing that forever now. You got to just like, it would serve you better. You all know this. I hope you all know this. Maybe you don't know this. So it's very important. What's up, E? Jim, you got tools for a quick turnaround transition from a pleasure day to a structured eating day? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my main tool is my structured eating. So I know like I'm going from one to the other. So that's the actual strategy I'm using, is I know I'm going to eat on my clean day. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna eat that, and I can't wait. So I take a lot of the decision fatigue type stuff out, a lot of the choices out of the equation. The mindset piece I use is I can't wait to get back on track. Okay. I enjoy what I ate. And I might get into a clean day and be like, oh, I want some more sugar. I want some more bullshit, like that'll happen. And sometimes I will. So again, I can't stress this enough, E. It's not about being perfect every time. You're going to like, oh, it's supposed to be a clean day. What the shit? I mean, here I am eating donuts. That happens. Okay. And that's how you grow and evolve though. Again, mistakes are our greatest teachers. So sometimes, again, it's not just what I'm going to eat, my mindset, so I might be stressed. I might be happy. I might celebrate. It might be vacation time. So it's like, there's different factors I got to deal with. And sometimes, okay, it's a clean day, but I feel like eating a donut. It's like, okay, how do I deal with that? And so, what I will typically do is I'll remind myself, yeah, I do want to eat a donut because I've been eating sugar. So I have more sugar cravings, but I want to get back on track because this is exactly why I want to get back on track. So let me do this. And then maybe I'll meet myself in the middle and say, okay, I have sugar cravings, but I don't want to eat a donut. I want to keep that thing going. Maybe I'll eat a piece of fruit where maybe I don't normally like to snack in between, but okay, I'm going to have something here because I am kind of hungry, but it's going to be something really healthy. So again, structuring your eating, folks, is to me, strategically ground zero of this whole process. It's the most important thing I think. Strategically, I think structuring your eating is the most important piece of living as a thin, healthy person. So that's what I think. But I don't know if that helps you out, E. So if that doesn't clarify the question, let me know because I can talk more about it. What's up, Don? Happy hump day to you. Moses says, mention that I'm trying to eat better foods to my family because I'm seeing them tomorrow to celebrate and they just said another diet. Yeah, of course, right? And let them say what they're going to say. Like, who gives a shit? I will say that in this sense, I might be kind of a petty person, actually. I might be kind of petty. But there's a saying that success is the best revenge. And I would be lying, and I take the goddamn no bullshit oath, so I'm not going to bullshit you guys. Sometimes, like, because there's going to be this on your path of weight mastery. There are going to be people intentionally or unintentionally that you feel are sabotaging you or make you feel less than, or, oh, another diet. And then it's like, and it's just deflating to you. And so to me though, I take that inside and I transmute it. This is the alchemy. If you ever study alchemy, the alchemist, it's turning things around, right? It's emotional Aikido. Emotional, Aikido, use the person, or judo. You use the person's force, and you redirect it in the way you want it to go. And so sometimes if people say something, it triggers me and I feel like like less than, I feel like discouraged or let down, I will use that as motivation to say, okay, motherfucker, I'll see you next year, and I'll use that as like, no, I'm really doing this and I'm doing it different this time. Again, that's what's so different. That's what I'm trying to convince you guys of every day in every different way I can. If you let go of the dieting thing, or you just give it your best for a week or a month, if you cut that shit out and you really commit to mastering your weight for real, like take it fucking serious. Okay. Dieting's not serious. You're not serious if you're dieting to lose weight. You are if you didn't know any better. But if you listen to me regularly and you're still trying to fucking diet, I don't even think you're serious about the weight. I really don't, because it's fucking stupid. So how can you be serious if you're going to do something dumb? And now you know it. Again, if you didn't know, you've never heard me before. Okay. But I mean, what are you doing? So I don't think anyone that's dieting is really serious about their weight. And maybe they don't realize it. That you got to pass if that's you. But the alternative here is to say, I don't give a shit if I lose weight this month or not. I don't give a shit if I lose weight the next 3 months. I'm going to master my weight. I'm going to change how I eat strategically, systematically. I'm going to change how I think. I'm going to change how I live. And I'm going to build on that month after month. And I know doing that, the weight's going to change. It has to, because weight reflects your average calorie consumption. And if I start reducing my calorie consumption over the next year, I know my weight's going to be less. And so when I hear oh, another diet, oh, you're trying to lose weight, trying to hold there. Yeah, fuck you. I'll see you next year. I'll see you next year. And I just bring it all inside. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. No, I don't feel like that. Fuck you. So again, I am a petty person. Fine. Okay. I am. And so I don't care. Stuff like that. That's the way that I have used it. See you in a year. See you in a year. And now here I am. No one's talking about weight with me. No one's going to talk about weight with me. What are you going to do? Now I'm not a petty person anymore. I want to help everyone. I want to support and help everyone. But, people are little dickheads to me in the past, I remember that stuff, it's like, I see them struggling with their weight, and guess I figured it out. Yeah, not the most attractive side of me, but I don't care. I mean, there is sometimes when people trigger you, what do you do? How do you deal with it? You know what I mean? Again, I'm not saying this is the best way, but I'm just telling you how I deal with it. Take it or leave it. If you don't like this way, find a better way. I encourage you to do that, But when someone says something shitty to me in the past, like that I wasn't going to change something. Oh, your pipe dream, fuck that, it's not going to work. And it's not just weight; it's all sorts of things. The fire burns. The fire burns long and deep in me, and I don't know how to change that. And so, but I transmuted it. You know what I mean? I transmuted it to help me get the result I wanted. So, that's what I'm saying, Moses. We got to deal with that somehow. Yeah. Dawn said it better than I did. She said, "Prove them wrong quietly." There you go. That's a much more succinct way of saying it. Best skill for maintenance is next meal is next chance to choose food better. Yeah, Dawn, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Every chance, another opportunity to turn it all around. Absolutely. Julie says, it's so funny. No one questions why a thin person is eating a salad. Why does everyone ask if I'm on a diet? Yeah, it's true. It's true. It is. And it's hard. I get that. Like when you're overweight and you've been struggling with your weight and all of a sudden you're in a social thing and you're eating healthier, you feel like there's a spotlight on you. And to some degree there is. I mean, let's be honest. So how do you deal with that? And again, I don't think there's one answer. You know what I mean? It depends on who you are and what works for you. But you've got to reflect on that factor. We can't just ignore it. We can't just ignore. I feel, Jesus Christ, I feel like everyone's looking at me. I feel so, what's the word? I'm blanking on the word. I'm feeling so judged. I'm feeling so like watched. And that's a bad feeling, right? It's an uncomfortable feeling, and we've got to deal with it. That's so much of programming yourself thin is not trying to pretend that's not there. Oh, let's just ignore it. I'll just ignore it. No, you're not going to ignore it. It's going to show up with you fucking eating everything probably. So we got to deal with the emotion. Again, another huge part of programming yourself thin, we learn to deal with emotions. We don't just fix them, by the way, but we just minimize it. So maybe feel uncomfortable, you feel awkward, and we reduce it by 40%. But that's a game changer, So you have a lot more influence over your feelings and thoughts than you realize probably, Ethan, I don't think I'm asking it exactly how I feel. Sorry, I missed yesterday's live class. Currently staying present after finishing a meal. Maybe the answer will come to me while I listen here. Yeah, let me know, Ian. And again, that's how it goes is, yeah, let my words kind of, hit you. And then if all of a sudden you kind of put some new connections together, for what you're saying, let me know, yeah, there it goes, Heather. Yeah. Exposed. Thank you. Yes. That's the word I meant. Exactly. Exposed. You feel exposed because that is the challenge. It's the challenge of lots of things though. This isn't just in the realm of weight. When you are struggling with something in your life, you want to fix it. you do feel exposed. It's an exposed place because if you go to a place and socially now you're eating better, it's basically, let's be honest, it's signaling saying, I'm trying to make a change here. And so now all of a sudden you feel exposed. Your inside thoughts and feelings and ideas have come now out. Now everyone can see them. And now people are judging you. Yeah, and they probably are judging to some degree, probably not as much as you think they are. But yeah, they're probably judging. If they're people like I was around, yeah, they're judging. They're judging. They're paying attention. They're watching, you know? And you have to deal with that. I would take that and I would have knots in myself. Oh, and that's where, again, the hypnosis meditation would come in so helpful. I'd untangle those. It's okay, Jim. How do I want to handle this? You know what I mean? So much of my process is taking these emotions and however they show up, and there's just so many of them nonstop every day, all day. It's taking these emotions, being aware of them, first of all, acknowledging them, and then saying, okay, how do I want to deal with this? How do I want to feel about this from a calm, relaxed perspective? And that's a lot of it, you know? Yeah, Vicky, under the microscope. Yeah, for sure. Julie says, if I say no to dessert, I'm like, I can't eat another thing, just like a thin person says. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what do you say though? Here's some things you can say. I'll have some later. I say that all the time. That's probably my favorite saying. And that's probably, it's literally, again, scientific. That's the most effective thing you can say is once you get there, especially if you've been there for a little while, no one knows what you've eaten at this point. The best thing you can say is, oh man, no, I can't have another. I'm so stuffed. I am so stuffed. I couldn't eat another thing. Cause that's what people say. And so I would suggest when you don't want to eat something, that's what you say. Now you can't say when you walk in there first thing, you know what I mean? But if you've been there an hour, 2 hours, no one knows what you're eating. And you say, oh my God, I'm so stuffed. I couldn't eat another thing, even if you're not stuffed. And that will get people off your back. Okay. That's the best response that there is. Yeah. And again, I can't eat another thing. It's all about like, cause let's be honest, right? At least here in America, you got to be absolutely stuffed. So you're about to throw up. That's, that's how we know you're done, And so, people don't accept the fact that you have a little more room. You can't stuff some more shit in there. Are you sure? Are you sure? You want to feel as full and stuffed as you can, So, yeah. Full. I'll have it later. Oh, I'm so stuffed right now. I'm stuffed. I'll have it a little bit later. I'm gonna try. Oh, that looks so good too. I'm gonna have some of that later. There's another one. So there's things you can say to throw them off the trail. I use all of them. It's funny. My daughter catches my sayings now, and it's funny because I've just I almost don't even notice them now, other than the fact that I teach them all the time. But again, again, whatever phrase you use, and some will work and some won't. But the goal I hope for you, what you're really aiming at, is to just fly under the radar. If I wasn't on a diet, what would I say? You know what I mean? Like almost like that. And that can be really helpful to learn there. Shrek says, well, I get skinny if I continue to eat 800 calories a day. For a little while, I mean, you may get skinny as long as you continue to eat that few calories, but how long are you going to do that for? So again, what's the point? Unless you got some big photo shoot coming up where you just need to be skinny for one day or a week or something, then I don't know what the point of doing that would be, Never heard of the loop. This is so true. Yeah, the loop's really interesting. Psychology is interesting, and applied practical psychology is even more interesting. Kathy says, I like that concept. Which concept we're talking about? Respectfully, that's not a good way to go about it. Unhealthy and most gain it back. Thank you, Don. I can't even answer those types of questions anymore because I realize those are the things that bring me the restriction. Jonathan says, absolutely. And not only skinny, but you also get to visit the hospital. Probably. Oops, shit. Let's see here. Don says, breaking news, veggies have protein. So yes, veggies do have proteins, and so do beans. The protein thing it's a scare from the meat industry. You're so worried about protein, but it's not, you don't have to be so worried about it. Most people. Kate Hill says, lost 60 pounds by tracking and staying in a deficit, been stuck now for a month despite working out. 60 pounds by tracking and staying in a deficit. God, do I hate that phrase, staying in a deficit. I really do. I just think that is the pinnacle of diet mindset, because who wants to be in a deficit for the rest of your life? Oh, I'm not going to stay in a deficit, Jim. I'm going to bring myself up to maintenance. Well, what's your maintenance level? What's going to happen then anyways? For months despite working out. It's hard to answer that, Kato. I would need like a way more details, but great job losing 60 pounds. Okay. The tracking and staying in a deficit, I don't know how that's feeling for you. Maybe it's your stress from doing it that's causing the weight to plateau a bit. You sell for breakfast, use up those veggies. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. I will not eat. I have been looking, I'm like, oh, can I eat, how can I eat these veggies for breakfast? And it's like, my mind's just a blank vacuum, but I do know how to make a salad. So again, this just sinks to this is another piece. This idea of the dieting thing that you're just going to start eating so differently. You're not, you're going to do what you do. Like starting a diet is so cognitively taxing that's why you can't stick with it, you know? And even me, like I know all sorts of things about vegetables, but I don't have a breakfast vegetable recipe in my head. So will I look up recipes? No, probably not. And even if I did, I'd forget about them or I'd feel like they were too hard to make. So I'll probably just rely on the salad. I know what tomorrow, now that I know I was going to do it anyways, because I hate seeing, we all feel this way. Watching food, it's a combination of things that we evolved to have, but watching food that we paid for go bad is a bad feeling for humans typically, you know? Yeah, if you said an egg white omelet, I would have an egg white omelet. That's the other piece too, is I want to have a bagel sandwich tomorrow. It's a pleasure day. And I love eating my bagel sandwich. I just had a half a bagel today and just primed me to want a whole bagel tomorrow. Plus, I'd have a bagel this weekend. I love my bagels. I get these New York bagels. They are so good. And I love them. Ronnie says, could you help with distinguishing between physical food cravings and emotional food cravings? I don't want to restrict myself fully, which is akin to an ED, but I also don't want to feel bad after. Oh boy, Ronnie, that's such a big question. I will tell you, to me, again, weight mastery pyramid, mindset, lifestyle, eating. And we structure our eating and program yourself then to unravel what is physical and what's emotional. You need to have a process to understand that. I couldn't sit here and just tell you. I'm not gonna tell you like a simplistic thing, which is like, am I hungry or am I bored? Well, I'll eat something natural and whole. I'll eat a whole natural food. I'll eat fruit or vegetable or salad. I don't feel like that. Well, you're just bored. When you're really hungry, that seems great. Okay, so there's just a quick litmus test for you. But the real process of distinguishing physical cravings versus emotional cravings, like honestly, it takes a process to figure that out, in my opinion. And it revolves around structuring your eating, having a sense of what your mindset is, cleaning up your lifestyle to understand how that factors in. And it's a journey. It's something you figure out. I'm still working on that. So it's not something I could tell you and then like, oh, you got it. Jody says a few sessions with Mario and he would reach his goals. No idea why he hasn't joined us yet. People mention you, Mario, in the program. Isn't that funny? Like we do our coaching calls and like, well, how's Mario doing that? But it's funny. You guys are like little mini celebrities almost. You know what I mean? It's like people like they'll follow in your stories and stuff. So funny. Is your wife disciplined like you? She's disciplined in her own way. I mean, I think I'm an outlier in certain ways. She is in her other ways too. So I don't know. It's hard to answer that. Don says, Jim, we are twins. I also do Coronas. I know I'll have more than I should. Yeah, right, Don. Exactly. And for me, the Coronas, I literally it's very difficult for me to get drunk on a Corona. Like it just is, I have a pretty good tolerance for alcohol, which is good and bad. I'm not bragging, but, I can drink a number of Coronas. Plus a lot of times, even my wife started to like stop drinking. And so I even had a non-alcoholic Corona the other night and it tastes just like a regular Corona. But I like having a bit of a buzz too. So I'm not afraid to admit that. I mean, so I don't want, there's so little alcohol in Corona. It's kind of like, it's the perfect buzz for me now. And it's all relative. I do feel myself moving to probably being alcohol free. I feel that. And I've never felt that, imagined that in my life, but I get a sense of it now. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how that goes, but Mara says, so sad about the ED audience, your viral video reach, the one about how thin you'd like to be. Oh yeah, I know. That was crazy. It's crazy. I would say at Mario, yeah, because I've been doing this for 20 years professionally, but when I first got on TikTok, it's been almost 2 years now, which is crazy to think that. But so I've been working with people to lose weight. And so all of a sudden I made these videos, but it got to like the wrong crowd. And that was a shock to me. I just never considered that. I don't work with people in that arena. And yeah, it was kind of weird, but it's okay. Sometimes they get on here and I talk to them too. I think I can help them a little bit too. Precious says, is 1,300 too small for a calorie deficit? I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I mean, I don't know your situation and stuff. I don't like the idea of picking calories and just trying to do that. I think figuring out your calorie in, calorie out, I just think it's a bunch of bullshit. Not that it doesn't work. I'm not saying it's bullshit in the sense that calories in, calories out is probably the most legitimate, accurate way to lose weight. I think that it's bullshit because it's very unsustainable for people. And so I think taking this very mathematical approach and cutting calories down and tracking it and I think doing that is very unnatural, and you're not going to do that long term. And so it's not going to work long term. And so beyond that, I don't think much about it. So I couldn't tell you if it's too small, too large for a calorie deficit, because I don't think in that way, you know. Kathy Dunn says, how do you get away from setting calorie limits when you don't trust hunger cues after years of diets? Structuring your eating. You structure your eating, and that answers that question. Structuring your eating is the main thing that dieters come in. I mean, the mindset stuff's really important, you know what I mean? But I would say right after the mindset stuff, the biggest thing people are like, holy shit, is structuring my eating is an absolute game changer. And for some reason, it is really unique. I've realized this year that I was so fixated on the mindset piece, because the mindset piece of program yourself, then everything I'm talking about is like, I'm like, wow, like no one's doing this. But then I realized no one was doing the structured eating the blueprints the way I was either. And I was like, holy shit. And so that's what caused me to say, hey, first go through the eating blueprint first. You know, I used to make everyone go through the mindset thing first. Now I say, go through the eating blueprint thing first, because you already know how to think about food. It's just a new way to think about it. So you got an advantage with the eating thing. You got a head start with that one in a sense. The mindset stuff for most people is kind of a lot of new information. So yeah, structuring your eating handles that, because yeah, you can't trust your hunger cues. They're all fucked up. You know what I mean? So structuring your eating addresses that and mitigates it. Moses says, they were super happy about me losing weight on carnivore. When I gained it back, I could feel the judgment. Yeah, exactly. And some of that was real judgment, and some of it was you internalizing it. But regardless, it's the same thing. That's why I never do that shit again. You know, never do an unsustainable thing, because there's nothing worse. Moses, I always say this to people, that the worst thing that can happen to you is when you lose the weight and then put it back on. Most people can only handle that 1 or 2 or 3 times of that before they're just done for good. Because now what happens subconsciously, you associate failure. Even when you lose weight, you feel like a failure because you're referencing when you put it back on. So it becomes a real pit of apathy where you can't even get yourself started. Which is when most people, when they start programming yourself then, which again, I found it fascinating. A bunch of people have joined up this week, and it's like, it makes my heart sing, because I always joke that Program Yourself Thin is the only program you would join on a Friday. But I'd add to that, I guess, it's also the only program you'd start on a holiday vacation week, you know, because again, you're not starting with some dumb diet where you're going to go to a cookout tomorrow, not eat anything. You go and you listen to your 5-minute hypnosis session. But anyways, yeah, the judgment's tough, Moses. So that's why don't ever lose in a way that's unsustainable again. You'll never have to go through that again, Moses. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Dawn says that she structured her eating. There you go. Miriam says, is it all right to have mixed days, or is it important to separate the days? You know, technically, there's clean and pleasure days and Program Yourself Thin, and it's a kind of arbitrary fake line to some degree. I mean, my clean days are very rarely purely clean. You know, something might sneak in there somewhat regularly, and my pleasure days aren't just pleasure days. I mean, there's nourishment embedded into the pleasure as well. So there is a bit of a mix. And I think it's really for the mindset. You know, the intention is, okay, tomorrow my main goal is to fuel my body, to eat clean foods. That's my goal. And again, how much you do that is, you know, it just depends on the day and situations. And then pleasure day, my main goal is to have the most pleasure possible. But the most pleasure possible, when you redefine what pleasure is, part of that pleasure is nourishing myself too. I like to feel nourished. I like to feel energy. I like to feel good. So there's more to that question in Program Yourself Thin, because we redefine things. But so mixed days, I think, are that's just natural. You know, I mean, you're rarely going to have like, oh, this is a clean day and this is just pure pleasure. There is a mixture in there kind of naturally, but it's more about the intention we go into it with and the focus we give it, you know. Okay, he says, my family's giving me the silent treatment and I absolutely hate it. One reason I'm overeating. That sucks. That's hard, Kathy. And that'll happen, right? I mean, again, emotion things trigger us, you know? So yeah, you'd want to find a better way to deal with the silent treatment than eating, you know? And that's the question. How do I want to feel about them giving me the silent treatment? They're going to keep doing it. How do I want to respond to that? Right? You've got more options than just eating, because the eating option doesn't really help anyways. So look at it that way. You make come up with a better thing. Forge Wellness, weaning yourself off of crap foods and making other excuses, convenience dieting and shit my life. Weaning yourself off crap foods and making other excuses, convenience dieting and shit. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but yeah, Mark says the agony being perceived. It's tough. The agony being perceived, though, is a double-edged sword too for you people that want to lose weight, and dieters should know this, because a lot of times, especially women, they want to be overweight. You literally want to be overweight so that you just disappear. That's what I saw. I read it in a book. Someone said this: overweight is overlooked. And I think there's real reality to that. And I think women, especially if you've had any assault or abuse or any issues in the past, especially for men, you really ought to reflect on that. If you're overweight, that somewhere deep, you may say being overweight keeps me safe. It keeps me, I don't have to deal with the male gaze and all the rest of the bullshit, you know? And I think that's a real motivator for a lot of women subconsciously that are overweight. That's at least piece of it, you know? And so I think that's real. So being perceived as I can say for me, I mean, even with my business, it's like the idea of even doing social media, just being out there. It's like, that was definitely a piece of it. I was like, I don't want to be out there. I don't want that, you know? I overcame it. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the other piece too, is like, just because you feel a certain way today doesn't mean you have to feel that way forever. I think that's the beauty of change, you know? Do you have food noise sometimes? Yeah, absolutely. I consistently have food noise. I want to make that clear. You can't not have food noise, folks. We live in an environment. It's literally technically called an obesogenic environment. I mean, all the ads, all the food triggers, the visual cues, there's just so much of it. So I deal with food noise regularly, but I have a very robust strategy to deal with the food noise, you know, but I absolutely deal with it. Yeah, if a chicken breast won't solve the problem, it's probably emotional. There's another way to go about it. Yeah, if it's a healthy food, you know, you don't want to eat a healthy food. You're probably not hungry. You're probably just bored. It is a good litmus test. Yeah, if you're hungry, a real apple will do. If not, an apple will never cut it. It's just so true. That is a great litmus test with it. Yeah, delay, don't deny. That's a good strategy too. Do you believe in intermittent fasting? Well, you wrote intermediate fasting, so I don't know if that's a different thing than intermittent. Intermittent fasting, I believe in it as a tactic that I use it as part of my whole overall strategy. I don't think intermittent fasting in and of itself is a solution to things. And I don't like intermittent fasting as a diet that's going to fix everything. I don't think it's going to do that personally. But I think using it as one tactic among many, being flexible with it, not having to do 16 hours. There's no magic to those last 2 fucking hours where you burn all the fat. That's bullshit. So it's just a strategy to compress your eating window so you consume less. And so I think as a tactic, I like it and I use it. And I think as its own solution in of itself, and you have to do 16 hours very rigidly, I don't like that. So staying in deficit is a ticket back to unhealthy weight and obesity. I think I agree with that. I eat tomato raw with my breakfast or early morning snack. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. I've been eating tomatoes. I've been eating like they're called Wild Wonders, and they're little tomatoes, but they're all different kinds. They're more natural than just like the red ones. I love those, and I've been really enjoying that. Yeah, fried eggs over arugula with a great hot sauce is chef's kiss. Yeah, that's great. That sounds good. How often do you think I should weigh myself when I'm trying to lose weight? I mean, I always suggest if you're going to use a scale, use it every day. Using it every week is just literally the cruelest thing. Your weight fluctuates all over the place, up and down for reasons you can't imagine. And to weigh yourself once a week, you don't know. You know, again, you could weigh yourself 2 pounds down the first day. The next week, you weigh yourself, you're 2 pounds up, and you lost 2 weeks, 2 pounds in the middle. Well, it shows up as you lost no weight this week, and now you feel totally discouraged. What the shit? You know, but if you weighed yourself every day, you would have seen that. So I think weighing yourself every day, you start to understand your body. You start to understand the impact, the choices you have on your body, as well. You send a strong message to your mind that this is serious. That's why I'm checking myself every day. You use it as an opportunity to work through all the emotions that you have attached to the scale. You're terrified of the scale. So how can you master your weight if you're absolutely terrified of the scale? It's weird. You know, the scale should feel like the speedometer of your car. You just use it as a data point. You're going too fast, you slow down. You go too slow, you speed up. Again, the scale, your terror with the scale has nothing to do with your weight and what the number shows up. That your terror with the scale is that it reveals front and center to you that you have no fucking clue how to control your weight. That's what the scale, that's why it creates such negative emotion in you, is that it reveals that you have no idea how to control your weight. Let's be honest, you know, and that's terrifying. And so that's where the terror from the scale comes from. And so, Casey said, put on a stone. Well, yeah, I'd want to know what you were doing. You didn't put on a stone. You don't gain weight, folks. You know, you really ought to stop using language like I lost weight, I gained weight, I put on a stone, I dropped a stone. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You ate more, you ate less, and it turned into weight loss or weight gain. But the weight gain, the weight loss is a reflection. You have no control over the gain or the loss. You have control over the eating and the lifestyle piece. You have control over what you're putting in your mouth. And then through some magical process that you don't even fucking understand, you don't even know how you lose weight. Do you know how to lose weight? Do you know how you lose weight, folks? How do you think the weight goes from in your body to not in your body? I like this question. Because it just reveals you don't know, you don't even know it. You're not losing weight. You're not gaining weight. You're eating more, you're eating less. And it's very important, that distinction, because you have control over one and you have no control over the other. And so if I were you, I'd want to stay focused and control on the thing you could control. You know? Moses says, how do you decide what your goal weight will be? I just randomly chose what I weigh when I was in college. That's a great question, Moses. Good for you, dude. You're a smarty, man. You ask the right questions and you think like a smart person that gets good results typically, at least in terms of people I work with. So, yeah, how do you choose a goal weight? Well, you don't really know the goal weight right now. The goal weight ultimately is something that you figure out, okay? Because the goal weight is something that you have to take into account: the weight, the size you want to be, the health you want to achieve, and how you're willing to eat and live your life. And you got to weigh both of those out, okay? So, Moses, that you could have a low weight if you just do carnivore, but that's not a good quality of life for you. So we want the weight that gives you the best quality of life, and you have to figure that out. And it's figuring out, what weight do I really want to be and why? And what do I have to do to achieve that? And we got to kind of figure out that sweet spot. Where do you get the best return on investment with those two? And so it's just a process. The weight you weighed in college, again, I don't know what your weight situation is. I know you lost 60 pounds last year. So, I mean, it's not for me to say, but I would reference, you lost 60 pounds last year. So how was that? That's a starting point. BMI chart's a good starting point. These are starting points. And to figure out what it is for you, no one can tell you. You have to decide for yourself. You get to decide what weight you want to be at. You can be in the overweight category BMI and be healthy as a horse, maybe even healthier. So it really comes down to your own personal opinions and what you want out of this whole thing. What is structured eating? Structured eating is when you I'm joking, but it is, but it's hard for me to explain. Structured eating is like the cornerstone of the eating piece of the Program Yourself Thin. And I always say this, so I'm not trying to be elusive here. I would tell you if I could, but it's a long-winded answer and I don't feel like doing it. But there's so much psychology and strategy put into the structured eating. We call them the eating blueprints in Program Yourself Thin, but it's structured eating. And basically it's this, that we have two types of days. We have clean days, we have pleasure days. Food based on fueling our bodies these days, and food's fun this day, these days, whatever you want it to be. And so we structure things. So we have a structured way of thinking about our eating. Most dieters do not. Most dieters are just trying to eat as little as they can for as long as they can until they binge. And so there's no structure there. This is not a meal plan. I want to make clear. It's figuring out when to eat for the best. There's just a lot to it. So my brain's kind of fried up here. I'm just going to leave you with a simple one. It's structuring our eating where we consistently eat at certain times and we eat certain ways on different days, consistently week after week. And so with that kind of structure and that foundation, it gives us the opportunity to get better at our eating, because it gives us some boundaries. It gives us the ability to become aware. So for example, I eat 3 meals a day on my clean days, a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and I eat the same breakfast and lunch every clean day, every week. Okay. And one of the things that's helped me do is I know I can eat this thing at 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm comfortable hunger wise until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I know when I eat this at 1 o'clock, I know I'm comfortable till 5 o'clock at dinner time. And when I eat this at dinner, I'm comfortable till the following morning at breakfast. You see? So that there's a couple different structures involved with it, but that's one of them, is timing it out, knowing that if I eat these foods here, and I have a couple different options, but if I eat this, it gets me to here comfortably. If I eat this here, it gets me to here comfortably. If I eat this, it gets me to here comfortably. And once you know that, and again, it's different for each person. I can't tell you what to eat because you got a different metabolism and body and all the rest of it. So you got to figure it out for yourself. But once you know which foods comfortably get you to the next thing, and they're in your calorie ranges for you to be at the weight you want to be at, it changes the whole process. Because right now you guys have there's no boundaries to what you're doing. You're just thinking of calories over the day. There's not enough granular understanding of what you're doing. And it sets you up for failure in 10 different ways that I don't go in, but that's kind of a big part of it. Oh, Marcy said I joined yesterday. You joined the program yesterday? So if you're in the program, you'll see it. Or I don't know if that's what you mean, but if you joined yesterday, go watch the eating blueprints. It'll explain it. It's a 45-minute training. Go watch it. Tammy knows how we lose weight. No one else get it? It's through breathing. Through breathing. Isn't that crazy? That's how you lose weight. You breathe it out. Crazy. Moses said, I just realized I haven't weighed myself since December. I've been terrified to do it. I know it sounds funny, but I'm scared. I mean, it doesn't sound funny. It's the norm. Most people are terrified of the scale and facing what's going on. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. You can't master shit if you're like, you can't be, I think of weight mastery. I always talk about weight mastery. And so I think of it as like, if I became a carpenter, you know, I need my tools and I master this. And so the scale to me is just a tool of my trade. And so if I was a carpenter who was terrified of the saw, how good of a carpenter would I be? You know what I mean? Like, again, these are just the tools of our trade. But again, knowing how to deal with emotions is a part of this whole process. And that's what I mean. If you're terrified of that, it's going to be hard. Mario says, you seem like such a natural on camera. I feel like we're on FaceTime. Thanks, Mario. I am kind of a natural at this. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it wasn't that I never felt like I couldn't be good on camera doing this. It felt more like I just didn't want to be out there. I don't know why. We all have irrational fears. We're irrational creatures. I try and tell you all this. We're not conscious, logical creatures. We're irrational. So, but good to look at Tammy. She had through breathing. Very few people know that. Very few people know that. Marcy says, thank you for answering my questions. You're welcome, Marcy. Sandra says, how to improve my relationship with certain foods. For example, when I eat peanut butter, I have trouble stopping. It's easier for me to not eat it at all. Do you think the best solution is to completely cut it out of the diet? If not, what's the solution? I think that's a more nuanced answer than just, oh, cut it out or eat it or whatever. Because I think there are some foods that are just too triggering and it's hard to stop, right? And I think that's just true for people. It's true for me. And so certain foods I just avoid, okay? But I also think at the same time that in terms of having a better relationship with food and being able to eat just the right amount of peanut butter, I think you can do that way better than you think you can because you've never learned how to be a moderate eater. Where have you learned how to be a moderate eater? I know no one's taught you how to be they've told you, hey, eat moderately. But again, as with everything else with the diet world, they're always fucking telling you what to do and never showing you how to actually get yourself to do it. So knowing I should eat moderately is a completely different thing than actually being able to eat moderately. And so programming yourself thin is literally, how do I get myself to eat moderately? And we use the eating blueprint and structured eating to help with that. We use the mindset piece. We use the lifestyle piece. We use, again, a strategic solution to help you eat more moderately and eat the foods you like to eat in a way that allows you to still live your goal weight. So yeah, that's what I think. He says the upward downward spiral is helping the transition between a fun meal to fuel day. Yeah, that's a great, you're right. There you go. You answered the question better than I did. The upward downward spiral is such a great session that's in the program. That one is a real good one. I think it's super, super useful. I think in that way all the time. I think the upward downward spiral, now that you say it, I think that, see, that's what I mean. I knew it. Like, again, that's why it is. I always say this, but like when I coach with people, when I get the nuance of communication, I'm able to help people way more than just through text even. But yeah, the upward downward spiral, I've internalized it and I reference and use that all the time. And I do that regularly with clean into pleasure days as well. So yeah, there you go. Just answer your own question, Ian. Now it's better because you answered it, you know? So anyways, Sandra says, thank you. You're right. Yeah. So again, you can get better at moderating. It's a skill, you know, it's a skill. And then again, there may be some things that even if you're good at moderating most of them, there might be some outliers. I just can't moderate that. I'll skip it, you know? Pizza's like that for me. Like if I make a pizza and then I see it in the fridge, it's like, man, I see that burnt crust and I'm like, oh man, and it gets in my head. I can't have that around. Could I? I mean, if I really, really wanted to, I could, I suppose, but it's a lot. It would take a lot of effort. And I like to make things easy for myself. Now that's an outlier. Most things I've figured out, you know, how to. Now, again, I'm around the same foods. You have to understand that too. That's part of the structured eating. I'm not consistently around like, oh, now I'm going to a bakery and I'm going to go to this amazing place and I'm going to go to this amazing food place. Like I'm not torturing myself either. I have again, there's layers of strategy I use to do all this. You know, that makes sense. All right, I want to get out of here. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. If you're not in my world, please go to my bio, click the link, get the hypnosis session. It's free. Watch the video I made you. That's free. And that's even more important. And I think that reading the emails is helpful too. I do everything I can to help you guys for free, but I do have a program too. If you choose, you know, if you like what you're hearing and seeing, go check that out. You know, it's an awesome program. It really is. Podcast is Program Yourself. Then we do it Monday through Friday. And We won't be here tomorrow, but maybe it'll be like Friday, maybe not. I will see where it goes. I'll probably pop on for a little bit. But I hope you all have a great day tomorrow. If you are celebrating 4th of July, if you have a holiday, enjoy yourself, okay? But work on enjoying yourself moderately. Don't go wild with it. Just enjoy yourself and get back on track on Friday or on Monday, whatever works for you. But again, it's not what you do one day that matters. It's what you do right after it. That's what matters. So again, thank you so much, everyone. Have a super duper day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.